This is Stephen Alexander with another BSFS book review.
Do it!
Who keeps saying that? I've been waiting for this for a long time. Well, waiting is the wrong word. The better word is planning. I've been planning to cover these books for a long time. You've already seen my coverage of the previous two works in the series. You know I'm always excited to read this series. You're just wondering why I never got around to covering book 3 until this year. Well, that's the thing about the queue. As of February, when I'm writing this, I got the show booked through late August. Sacrifice of Knowing by Sherilyn G. Brown got added to this year's list because I didn't have time for it last year. I could have gotten to it sooner, but I already covered book 2 last year. Anyway, enough rambling. It's the last of the Conscious Dreamer storyline, and we find Lauren, the first hero, stuck on planet Trebor. She saved the day but fell into the portal, and Roxol has to help her friend. Kane is out there and found powerful allies. He wants to blow up planet Trebor and end the threat of the Keepers. Unironically, so do the Resistors, but they don't want to get nuked either. Roxol and Ito are in a bad way, with Lauren barely able to survive on her own, the Resistors' alliance falling apart, the Keepers control the gates and don't realize that Kane and the Earth pose a greater threat than they do. Things look bad, but Vince and the ENL still control the Earth Gate and got a plan that the remaining Resistors can follow. Vince is Lauren's new love interest and wants to rescue her. Unfortunately, things go two balls up and Lauren winds up back on Earth, in Kane's custody with her ex-boyfriend, the always irritating and confused Kyle. However, Kyle has a change of heart when he sees Lauren again. Well, technically he never lost faith in her, even when he lost faith in the ENL. It's up to our heroes to save both planets from destruction in an epic 4-way battle for control of the gateways, which totally doesn't sound like an episode of Stargate SG-1. What did I like about the story? It's the Conscious Dreamer Saga. You already know what you're getting. Strong female character development, exciting action sequences, and a focus on friendship that doesn't stray into My Little Pony territory. What made this volume stand out was the focus on communication. They can't speak each other's languages, and they need to find ways to communicate outside of thoughts. Trebor has better tech, but Lauren, despite not being a linguist, is able to bridge the gap between the cultures. As someone who lives overseas, this is what I got to work with. The main male characters don't grow as much, but Rodan, the Gamma faction leader that constantly clashes with Roxol, grew in a much better way. Yeah, the tension's still there, but she becomes more open to Laurel and Roxol's plans, and that helps develop her a bit. Roxol develops really well, in becoming a hardened resistor with the additional duty of helping the ENL task force that comes to her aid. She was much softer in the first book, but by this one, she's become a jaded Rambo. What didn't I like about the story? I felt the ending was contrived and unnecessarily happy. There were a few issues I had with it that I find difficult to describe without giving it away. Essentially, 2 of Roxol's teammates had a brain fart and tried to steal a nuclear missile, but it blew up and the energy release broke the gate controls. It's hard to criticize this without giving away the ending, but I felt it was unnecessary. The writer could have had the same series of events without the brain fart, or skipped it entirely. Anyway, I felt the ending was too happy. Maybe I'm used to tragic endings because I live in Asia and outside of anime there aren't any happy endings. The male characters seem to be defined by their love of the female characters. I don't mind it too much, love is a great motivator, but they were a part of the good guys' cause long before they met their loves, the main characters. Despite the jaded period, they should have had more loyalty to the cause before deciding to leave either group. Finally, she didn't write the Keepers well at all. They are the main villain! Instead, Kane becomes the main villain. But essentially, he won. The whole point of Book 2 and 3 is that Kane wanted the Keeper threat neutralized. He doesn't get the nuclear destruction he wanted in Book 3, but he still won. She wrote him as the villain with a point, and as a caricature villain, but she wrote the ending with him effectively winning regardless. The Keepers can't use the gates anymore without building their own, the PL on Earth is broken and exposed, and the leadership of Earth knows about their manipulations. Ultimately, by losing, he won. Roxol and Lauren won more, of course. The ENL and the Resistors won too. But the Keepers, the way she wrote them, lost the most. She didn't have any Keeper-focused characters, which made following their point of view hard. But they had to know by the start of Book 3 that the Resistors were right about the Earth threat. Instead, they were the weakest link and just kinda got in the way. That's the biggest complaint I had in the story. My recommendation. Sometimes wrapping up a story is hard. The writer wants to leave a door open for a sequel, or at least make people think there's enough for a sequel. It's hard to tell if she will pursue another trilogy in the story. At any rate, I'm happy enough with this one, despite its few flaws. I give The Sacrifice of Knowing, Book 3 of the Conscious Dreamer Saga, an intelligent score of 4 out of 5 stars. A nice ending to a trilogy that doesn't go into Ewok territory. Someone get her an agent! I recommend this story to people who want an exciting sci-fi story with a feminine focus that doesn't come off as girl power triumphalism. Try saying that 3 times fast. Triumphalism, triumphant, elephant, forget it. Got any comments, suggestions, or works for me to review? Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, always bring your own nose tube breathing apparatus when traveling to another planet. You don't want to share boogers with your human friends, do you?